Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. In this video I want to give you all a better understanding of the DeFi market and, so to speak, give you a little peek behind the scenes. Sure, it's going to be interesting and informative, so likes and subscribing to the channel are appreciated in advance. In my Telegram, I regularly try to share with you reviews and observations on various tokens from the DeFi sphere, and I've noticed that many people treat it as signals. Yeah, obviously all of us want to make as much money as we can and as quickly as we can, and of course we would prefer to spend the least amount of time and energy while doing it. But there are certain nuances that you should understand, so I want to draw your attention that I'm not giving signals, meaning I'm not urging you to buy or sell any particular token, but simply sharing my analysis with you on some tokens, so that you understand what points are worth paying attention to in your own analysis. I can certainly provide signals, but delivering them to a sizable audience will not have a favorable outcome for either the individuals or my standing in the long run. And there are actually several reasons for this. First of all, tokens in DeFi are extremely volatile, meaning they change a lot in a short period of time. And often a good entry point is usually only available for a minute. And depending on when you make the purchase, you'll potentially earn, for example, 2 or 3 times the amount or maybe no profit at all. Essentially, you require a strategy similar to that in trading. Therefore, the entry point and the percentage of profit fixation have a significant impact. It is completely individual, and each and every person should determine their own unique strategy based on their deposit amount and personal willingness to take risks. For instance, a person enters a transaction for $1,000 and locks in a 50% profit growth. His profit will be $1,500. Another person is joining the deal, but for $100, and they're getting a 50% increase, but that's insignificant. In fact, a person on the airwaves will practically pay the same commission, and accordingly, he will simply be left without profit when performing the same actions. In fact, you can earn 2-3 times on almost every shitcoin. It's just important to pick the right entry point. Well, let's do it on a graph. Let's see how it works so you can visually understand how important it is to choose the correct position to purchase and repair it in a timely manner. So let's break it down using the example of tokens, which I wrote about in my Telegram channel. The green line on the chart is my entry point, and the yellow line is the entry point at the time of the post on my channel. So you see the chart, and what can we say here? You can see that the graph is just starting to develop, the token has just launched, and now you need to decide whether to take the token or not. Naturally, you need to be able to perform a rapid analysis, but at present it is not focused on that. Let us simply observe the significance of extracting tokens from corrections, meaning refraining from reacting hastily to peaks, but rather waiting for the correction and then purchasing directly during a decline. Pay attention, I bought on the green line, so I had an entry point here. At first I entered when there was about a 50% correction from the peak, but most likely a sniper worked here, so the correction was slightly smaller. And for the channel there was a more delicious entry point, approximately 55%. Ultimately, the chart experienced a significant decline even further and subsequently began to ascend. Here, if we take a look, let's open up the complete picture, so to speak. The peaks were roughly located at my entry point in the market. It was 145%, but for those who bought at the same minute when I posted on the channel, for example, it was about 170% maximum. So you could have taken more than 2, well, practically 3. But mind you, if we had waited for a correction in the area, well, a maximum correction that is around 80%, well, or at least 70. So if we bought at 70%, our entry point would have been very tasty, and then the X's for us would have been completely different. So 300% is 4 times. Accordingly, the difference is very noticeable, and it was worth waiting, well, not much at all. And the fact that each token provides correction, if he is flying without correction, it is probably better to let it go, especially if the token has already flown high. I usually skip those tokens more often. Not my rocket, will catch the next one. There are a whole lot of tokens coming out every day. Ultimately, I made double the amount here. I'm unsure if any of my colleagues bought on the channel, but in general, you could make money if you held onto it during the correction. There was about 4 times the potential gain here. Accordingly, it is still being traded. The token is quite interesting, but okay, let's not delve into it anymore. If you're interested, check out the channel and read about it. I wrote about it in more detail. This is a token I found through research. And for example, let's take a look at one more token. It's called a coffin. Coffin, I also took it on the green line. That was the first correction. I remember it like it was yesterday. There was a sharp growth and a quick correction. I totally messed up here. And it turned out to be a pretty good entry point. Then I wrote on the channel, time passed, and here it is. The post was on the channel at that time. The entry point is right here, that yellow line. And ultimately there was growth. Let's see what we've got. In the end, I was just chilling, didn't sell the token. And we had about 3x orderliness here from my entry point, around 200%, but I didn't have time to fixate here. And in terms of the audience, well, it was approximately around 135% in magnitude. Then the token was traded for some time, giving the opportunity to enter, come again from the entry point and fix the profit, giving the opportunity, and in the end it rolled away. Of course, it's important not only to buy at a good entry point, but also to sell in time. Someone will manage to fix the profit, while someone will be stingy and lose everything because they didn't stick to their basic strategy or, for example, weren't focused. On top of that, giving signals is a certain responsibility, and it should be approached with intelligence. People who don't have even basic information, even when working with signals, will simply lose their deposit. So, answering the question that many people ask me privately, will there be signals? Yeah, guys, I'm telling you, they will, but in a private group and in a slightly different format. Only those who complete the full training can join this community. I'll give you a spoiler, since many are asking, there will be training to provide more information, guidance, and teaching. Yes, there will be training. I've been working on it for over 3 months now. I plan to launch it closer to August, so more detailed information will be available a little later in the Telegram channel. To not miss out, subscribe using the link below the video. And now I want to share with you some information on how people make money from insider information, so you can understand how it all works from the inside, from the perspective of developers and influencers, and so on. I think everyone understands perfectly well that when you have an audience, some kind of fame, various projects start coming to you for advertising purposes. Yeah, I receive offers frequently to promote this or that token, and approximately 90% of the time I simply say no outright. Why? Because if I furnish this token to the audience, in 90% of cases it ultimately proves to be a scam, and none of my subscribers who are subscribed to me will be able to make any money. But of course there are also some good tokens, about 10% of them, and such tokens can be highlighted in principle. So if I understand correctly, there will be an opportunity to earn not only for me as a blogger, for example, or for other influencers, but also for the audience. So of course this token can be highlighted so that people also have the opportunity to earn. That is the reason why I approach any projects with great care. And it is crucial for me to comprehend that the token is not a temporary phenomenon, and that there is a dedicated and diligent team supporting it. But unfortunately, nobody ever knows 100% how the price of a particular token will behave at a given moment. It is impossible for anyone to be completely sure about the occurrence of Project XE, whether it will happen or not. And I do not want anyone from my audience, to lose money just because they either irresponsibly or simply naively approach the matter, trust me, or trust some other bloggers who may not have the necessary expertise. That's why I try to give you information, keep you in the loop, explain how the market works from the inside, so that even if you buy a token that I mentioned, for example, on the channel, you do it wisely and take full responsibility for your actions. Okay, let's explore the details of token launching and how everything works internally. Let's examine the example of the coffin token, which I, by the way, discussed in my Telegram channel and on Twitter, as I already stated. And I wasn't an influencer there, nobody paid me, nobody gave me any insight. I bought it together with the gang. So I did it from the heart. So since I've noticed that the audience, meaning you guys, also has the opportunity to earn money with me, well, what have we actually seen on the chart? You got to understand that any token is created to make money. And of course, the developers of the project want to make money first and foremost, naturally. Keep that in mind. In any token, someone will make money while someone will lose. Just because in the market, money always belongs to someone. If someone made money, if for example you made money, then someone lost the same amount, you could say. And the thing is, even the admins themselves often don't know how far, so to speak, it will be possible to get a project going, up to what price. And all because there are many variables such as marketing, the number of tokens sent by the influencer, for instance, at the beginning. They are unaware, for example, of when the inflows will start selling and what amounts, and the token's launch system, and so on. So there are a lot of nuances, and it's important to understand how it works. So let's break it down. I am aware that Cofina had a team of developers who possessed extensive experience. The team had ambitious plans and a strong desire to initiate a project that exceeded their expectations. Anyone who kept tabs on the project saw it clear. They had all them fancy centralized exchanges getting in, even foreign influencers. All in all, there was a lot of ads going on. So what is the bottom line? Many projects like you, I believe, know and speculate, initially distribute tokens, for instance, to influencers, or allow them to purchase prior to the main mass of people. And accordingly, in exchange, influencers do project advertising, after which the main hustle begins. Here they just gave a contract to the influencers, so to speak, ahead of the crowd. And you can see it very well on the graph. Check out the tail on that graph, would you? So these little green candles, that was all a set of positions. We initiated the process at 10:45 and wrapped it up around 18 o'clock, successfully sealing the deal, and then proceeded to enjoy a leisurely shopping experience. Here the project team was buying influencers, maybe some bots, well, and random passengers. So first of all, insiders, bots, as I already said, are bought up. Random passengers can be people who just found the contract ahead of time and for some reason decided to buy it. And then all this hustle and bustle goes public, so at one point the contract is just dropped into the main channel of the project, and then the posts from influencers start and the main crowd comes in. So here is this large candle, and we can even zoom in for a duration of 5 minutes on the time frame so that you can see how it all went down. Let's take a look. Wow, this all happened really fast. Like within 5 minutes there was a huge growth. I mean, a ton of people showed up here. And here not only influencers but also regular people have been coming. And here's the thing, the majority of people started coming here, I mean at these spots. I have not been present, I awaited the initial correction, and the experience was quite satisfactory, and I consistently make an effort to attend corrections that range from 50% to 70%. I was able to gain entry, found a favorable point to enter, and then the chart began trading even more. Naturally, when influencers see 20, 25 X's on the balance, and everyone who came here at the start, let's have a look, even try on some Nikes. From the beginning there were already over 10 times the amount, and at its highest point it was approximately 27 times the quantity. But of course many people start to lock in their profits and usually do so greedily, meaning with large volumes. And obviously all of this is reflected in the chart. These large red candles are precisely the profit-taking of those who entered at this point. It transpired that all those who bought in on the inside, comprising the team, influencers and so forth, kind of didn't allow the full project to unfold because they obtained really good X's in a matter of minutes. The crowd, of course, is a public yes, they have stocked up on highs, and it was these X's that were recorded. So there was no talk of big X's for people here, as we can see, but you could have taken 2, 3 X's if you cleverly chose the entry point. The project team, by the way, attempted to manage the situation. Whoever was monitoring the main chat, it was fairly straightforward to determine. However, it ended up being unsuccessful due to the fact that a large number of tokens were purchased here, and then, obviously, all of this stuff was obstructing the improvement of the graphics. Ultimately, the whole thing ended up being a failure. We see that the price slowly but surely went down to the floor. Well, like I already said, I went in with the crew and there weren't any big X's for me here either. Honestly, I was expecting more from the project, and in general there could have been some good X's here. Unfortunately, the project didn't quite live up to its full potential. And in the end I sat there till the very end, hoping marketing would somehow fix the situation. And ultimately, after all the excitement had subsided in the chat, I ultimately ended up with a small loss. Well, I am simply being honest about it. I mean, I was being stingy and ultimately ended up recording a loss in my financial records. It is completely normal, everybody loses, and here you simply need to regard losses as experience, first and foremost. Secondly, don't despair, don't throw in the towel. Well, of course, so that you don't have any doubts, or when everything has grown, or vice versa. When you have lost money, it is important not to go all in. That is, to invest an amount that you are not psychologically afraid to lose. Honestly, I don't know how it all went down, you know? I'm not saying those guys are scumbags or anything. I'm just telling you how the situation is, you know? Like, how the market works, those candles, and what they really mean from an insider's perspective, you know? Like, how it all goes down on the inside. So, like, when you invest in shitcoin, you have to understand that you are taking on all the responsibility and risks that come with this market. You know what I mean, right? Just be aware, okay? Every individual consciously assumes these risks, and every individual desires to earn money rapidly, not just the development team or solely you desire to make money. Of course, everyone wants to earn money, but again, someone will earn money and someone will lose. Therefore, holding someone responsible for leaking the DEP due to certain errors that you personally committed is not entirely justified. For me, for instance, this particular situation ended up being extremely revealing in terms of the experience I gained, and I acquired an extra level of expertise for myself. So I got that. First of all, it's not worth being greedy. Take your 2-3x's. And you also have to observe how the graph responds to advertising, you know what I'm saying? So if the advertising is actively running, but you see that something is hindering the growth and there are parallel large sales, keep in mind that someone is selling something very big, and accordingly there may not be any new highs. Maybe it's worth already fixing the profit. And here's why I'm telling you all this. Let's summarize. Nobody ever knows where the price of a particular token will go, not even the developers themselves. This token is just one of many examples, and it's important to understand that not all tokens are executed using this tactic. There are always a lot of variables, and each token, each graph is actually individual. So if you're following some influencer and they wrote about some coin, I wouldn't recommend jumping in right away without looking into any token. Always conduct your own analysis and research strategies. Additionally, only invest what you can afford to lose, once again, psychologically. If you lost like money, then perhaps it is not worth blaming a blogger for providing you with a negative signal that may have led to your financial loss, because the blogger himself may not have had such a goal. Maybe he really gave the token with good intentions so that the audience could also earn, so that he could earn and everyone would be happy. But unfortunately, that rarely happens, that everyone is happy and someone always loses. So pay attention to signals too, if you see any signals. If you happen to see any advertising, always approach it, not just superficially, but try to delve into it and don't rush. Make your own analysis, but again, analyze the situation as deeply as possible and take your time to fully understand the implications. Don't jump the gun, wait for the correction. If you take a look at any Bitcoin chart, you can see that there is always a correction at the beginning of any token, usually around 50-70% average correction. It's much safer to take tokens from her, and usually there's always a rebound from her. I mean, the first correction on the minute time frame. But I think y'all grasp how crucial the entry is, meaning the folks who hop on the highs, what kind of X's they got, and the folks who buy during corrections, what kind of percentages they got. A significant difference, a time interval, yes, it was worth waiting for the correction, and you would have received not 2 X's, but 4, for example, X's. To earn consistently on cryptocurrencies, you need to develop a keen eye and understand the inner workings from the inside. So basically, that's what I'm trying to get across to you. Of course, you'll have to spend quite a bit of time on all of this, on studying all aspects and finding strategies that work specifically for you. Well, or you can just trade on insider information if you have it. Also, make sure to work with psychology. It plays a crucial role. When you feel like your hands are shaking and you want to go buy some token or something, it's better to step away from the screen at that moment. Don't be greedy. A lot of tokens come out in a day on which you can get 2-3 X's. Don't wait for this rocket. Boost your deposit. Fully fix 2-3 X's. When the amount is larger, you can use a different tactic. For example, leave 10% of the token. Maybe the video was a bit long. I listed various aspects, but I'll add a little more. It is important to understand that in DeFi, it is crucial to maintain your distance. So like one amazing project, for instance, after a period of 2-3 months of trading or some intriguing insider information, has the potential to completely transform your life. overriding all the negatives and enabling you to earn upwards of several tens of thousands of dollars. It is important to simply wait for that moment, not merely wait, not to spend all of your deposit at the very least, and remain focused. So I hope the video was helpful for you. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we're not saying goodbye. See you soon in the next videos.